Alright, next episode is How to Rock a Prank. And I like it. Although there's not a lot I remember about it. There are a few things I remember about it. The most important details I remember. The rest of it, I'm just a little foggy. So here's the plot of the episode. Casey wants to is interested in the guy, and she wants to get him to ask her to go out with him. And I think he's a senior as well, so there's that too. Or maybe I'm mistaking that for Messy Bet. I don't remember. I think it was a prank that this aspect was in, not a messy bet. Uh, so he accepts. Molly pulls a prank on her that makes it look like she's foaming at the mouth, and that actually is pretty funny. Just her reaction to it, as well as Molly's line immediately after. Froth much? That kind of worked. And then Grace had kind of a response to it, which I can't remember really what it was like. So, the rest of... So Gravity 5, with the exception of Xander, is encouraging Casey to find a means of getting back at Molly. Xander's the only one who's saying, be the bigger person. Don't do anything about it. And I suppose... And just ignore her and it'll go away. And they don't cover that a lot in the episode, that idea. And obviously, this is a kids show on Nickelodeon. They're not going to address bullying in a serious way, especially not in this day and age. Although, I'm sure if this had been released this show had come out in the 90s, it would probably have generated the idea of bullying a lot differently. Even then, a lot of the shows involving bullying played it down very much. Like Hey Arnold didn't make out Helga's bullying to be one of a brutal nature, or Harold's. And also they wanted to make him likable characters as well and show that, well, kids can do despicable things. They're not necessarily despicable themselves for doing them. I know that seems to be the general idea about it. So what happens is their attempt to pull a prank almost succeeds, but barely doesn't, as a result of some kind of little flaw in the idea, which actually makes the perfs still look good rather than look like fools and idiots. And so suffice it to say, the prank results in, well, they glue bananas to their phones. Banana phone! And my response to that is this. Specifically, Molly's reaction to when she figures out what's happening. They scare him away with a translator on a string and said, wait a minute, translators don't spin webs. I smell a rat. And so then Grace listens to her and freaks out, yells, rat! She's running in the other direction. Molly grabs her from behind to prevent her from running away, so as to explain the situation to her. And Grace is still running in place, and she's like, this is a nightmare. I'm running, but I'm not going anywhere. And so the prank ends up backfiring with Casey and Xander giving each other a high five, and the very sticky, practically permanent glue or super glue ends up causing their hands to get stuck together. And as a result of that, they have to figure out a means of getting it undone before the date that Casey has her date that night. And so you get a couple good comic bits here. They don't play it up as much as they could have, and they don't play it as smart as they could have, probably. But I feel like what they did do, they really gave us something to be pleased about as far as it goes. And I think that's important. And the fact is they didn't dumb it down too much either. And I admit, as stupid as it is, the way that Stevie ends up spraying the glue on Nelson and Kevin, and they end up getting stuck to a whole bunch of the items in the band room. It kind of works for some reason. Maybe just the sheer goofiness of it, I suppose. And the way that the way the episode ends up playing it. I don't know what to say about this earlier bit in the episode when they're trying to devise a way of getting back at Molly and the Perfs for the prank they pulled on Casey earlier. The part about there was Nelson and Kevin explaining the ideas of their plan, this very elaborate, very unrealistic plan to toss Molly down a volcano or something, and they were using the funniest part about it was probably the different figures they used. Actually, I don't know if that was the funniest part. I can't even decide what the funniest part is. That probably says that it's a scene that can be amusing, and it'll be amusing in different ways to those who find it amusing. I mean, that's a given any way you look at it, but at the same time, there'll be different parts of it you admire. Just the sheer goofiness of the plan, along with the off-the-handle antics of Nelson and Kevin combined with the different little like figures or stand-ins they have for each of the characters, including themselves and Gravity 5 and Molly and Grace. So overall not a great episode, but an enjoyable. It's amusing. It's enjoyable if you have the right mindset going into it. Well, I think that's it for this one. I will catch you guys on the flip side.